Hey everyone, welcome back to GameSpot's coverage of E3 2019. I am Mike Mahardy. I'm here with Lucy James.
Hello.
And JC from Nintendo Treehouse. And guess what? We are playing Link's Awakening Remake. And we just saw some of it on Nintendo Direct, which that show was kind of super surprising in its own right. But you brought the game here to play a little bit of it today. We got Sarah behind us, our friend, who's going to be playing through some of Link's Awakening. So tell us what we're about to see with this remake.
So The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening is something that's kind of near and dear to me. What's interesting is, like, truth be told, when I was younger, I actually wasn't able to pass the whole game because I was borrowing my friend's Game Boy at the time. And, I had to give it back. So I only made it through, like, the first maybe dungeon or so, exploring the world back then. But, you have this whole world. I'm sure people that are watching this feed right now will be like, oh, Link's Awakening, you haven't passed it. But a lot of things you'll remember, right? We've updated the graphics. There's a whole new kind of art style to the entire game where it kind of looks like you're zoomed in really close, and it's so cute, as you can see from the little charm on my shirt. So you have that. There's also different, different music, and they've updated that as well. So what you're going to see in this particular gameplay demo is what we have to show here on the show floor. And my buddy Sarah's back there. Holla. Yep, she's awesome. She'll be taking us through this little adventure, so we're going to walk you through the demo.
This art style, I feel like as soon as it was shown off, initially, everybody loved it.
Yeah.
And I like that it's kind of like that toy look, but it's also a good blend of that, like as the Link Between Worlds kind of shading as well.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of part of the charm. If people haven't played a Legend of Zelda game before, I think this is probably a really good intro to how games are. You just kind of explore. I mean, yes, if you know what you're doing, that's fine. And you have the kids playing in the background. You're not necessarily limited to something linear, and I think that's really the heart of an adventure game like the Adventure of Zelda, Legend of Zelda, because it's all, you want to explore, you want to check out, what is this? Like, oh, what is that? I never noticed that before. Or someone will tell you something you didn't know,
There's like that subset of people who, when they first saw this kind of gameplay in the initial trailer, they're like, why was there a chain chomp in a Zelda game? And then you're like, oh man, you need to check out Link's Awakening. This is a weird game.
Yeah, you hit it actually right on the head. People that are familiar with some Nintendo characters, enemies, franchises, there's Goombas in the game. And funny enough, I was like looking up our lore sheets in the treehouse, digging in our archives, and it's actually named Goomba. I'm like, oh, that is actually a Goomba. Oh, okay, cool. The Chain Chomp's name is Bow Wow. It's a pet. So it's really cute. And what's really funny is you can even go inside that house, and I won't, not too much spoilers here, but there's even like chow chows, and they're really tiny little like Bow Wows or Chain Chomps that are really adorable, and they're just kind of barking around this woman's house. So,
and that's what's interesting, because I feel like compared to some of the other games Nintendo has remade in recent years, Link's Awakening, although again it's one of my top 3 Zeldas, I'd say it's a fantastic game. It's still, I'd say, one of the more relatively unknown Zeldas, or at least overlooked often Zeldas. So, do you know how much, was the team able to take that idea and run with it in terms of how much liberty they're taking, or are they like, no, we want to stringently abide by what it was back when it was on Game Boy?
I think the way that the developers take a look at these games is when we're going to do some kind of remake or something, it has to have a purpose and a point, right?
Right.
And I think when a lot of people look back on the, Link's Awakening as a game in particular, there's something so, like, childlike and fun and warm about it that they want to make sure that comes across now. I mean, you'll even notice that even talking with the owl or in Link, when he speaks with other characters, they have a little bit more dialogue too. So it's really about keeping the same emotional context to the game. So when you do play it, you should feel what you felt back then and a bit more, since we have a bit more flexibility with the technology and all now. There's even been some changes, so there's some surprises. A good example is these moblins, right? So the moblins in the old games. Yeah, I won't spoil who that is if you haven't seen it yet. But the moblins, for example, there's been some changes. So in the original game, the moblins would kind of keep a distance at you, kind of approach you a little bit and throw the spear. There's been some changes where they changed the AI, so they kind of back up now, and so you're gonna have to be like, okay, I'm familiar with swipe, and you'll miss, and you're like, oh, wait a minute, I wasn't expecting that. So there's a
You need to know your reach,
You need to know a lot of things, but of course, so if you played it, there's something new for you. There's always going to be something new to find. If you're first to the series, it'll feel like, the back of your hand very quickly. So it'll be real easy to approach, easy to pick up, and to share. So
Because I imagine that's something that's very difficult to balance, is making a game that feels like the original, but also feels fresh and feels, a modern gamer that maybe didn't play the original, isn't going to be put off because it feels dated.
And there's been a lot of those improvements too. I mean, everything from my favorite thing is actually in the original, you only had the A and the B buttons, right? And you had to change out an item or something to equip your sword, or if you need to use, say, a boomerang or something, you have to switch out your sword or your shield. I mean, who changes out the shield if you don't need to? But you have to go into a menu, get all that done. This menu is a lot more streamlined. So all you have to do is you hit the plus button and go into the menu, you just highlight what you want and hit the wire X button and it's there. So those kinds of quality of life improvements are going to be found throughout. I think another addition for me, or just a change, is I really like the music. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but
The Ballad of the Windfish.
Ballad of the Windfish. Oh man,
yeah.
dude, I kid you not. First time I saw this, I almost teared up because they started playing the music, and oh gosh, it was something. The feels all over.
Well, it's also interesting because, in my memory at least, Link's Awakening is one of the more difficult Zeldas. Sometimes, not so much maybe in combat, but there's definitely the dungeon later on, Eagle's Tower, if I recall correctly. That one it got super difficult. I mean, like, it was a good difficult, but I imagine, like, it's one of those games that, like, maybe if you're just coming to this for the first time and Nintendo hasn't made drastic changes to the difficulty, it might be pretty difficult for some players. And I wonder how much balance goes into that between accessibility and staying true to the difficulty of Link's Awakening.
Yeah, just like any other game that we develop, there's always a trial and error, right? So as the game gets finished, I'm sure we'll see a couple more improvements and things. But difficulty, I wouldn't actually put it out there because, for me, I think if I were to recommend any Legend of Zelda game, or for like a first timer, this is definitely got to be one of them in this particular style. So, yeah, I can assume there being a lot of good things, and I don't think it would be too hard. I mean, how old were you when you first played the first one?
Not too old at all. Probably like 8. Something.
Yeah. Guarantee I have faith that you are a better video game player than when you were.
I appreciate it, JC. And then, that's interesting because obviously it's a remake of an older game, but maybe since Link Between Worlds, we haven't had much of a top-down Zelda, right? Like obviously Breath of the Wild took drastic changes with it. I imagine it must be nice for some of the Nintendo team to go back to this style of Zelda.
I think so. I mean, if you take a look into the love and care that's put into this game through all the little details, even if, let me see if she's using magic powder here. Oh yeah, are you going to talk to him? Yeah. So I don't know if you remember this, but the magic powder, what it does, you think small things like you give this puzzled look, like you're just like...
I don't remember that, no.
Yeah, so you can toss the magic powder on a bunch of different things, and one of them is if you go to that green thing and just kind of throw it on him, he becomes someone you can talk to.
Okay.
So there's the small details like that, they're found out through the entire game. Even like the Zols, the red and green Zols you'll see in a bit, they have a little bit different too, right? There's a little bit of different enemy pattern there. So again, a lot of fun little surprises, the details, the love, you can feel it when you play it. So I really hope you guys get your hands on in the booth at some point. If you
I would like to.
We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out.
Just over the aisle, we'll sneak in between appointments. In terms of, the original development team, are they consulting on this remake in any way? Are they involved?
Ooh, you know what? That's actually a tough one. There's a lot of people that are working on this game, and usually what happens in Nintendo development is people will kind of share ideas, and there'll be movement of people. So I wouldn't be surprised if the people that originally made the very first one had something to do and making sure that you don't lose faith in the original idea or in the kind of vision that this game was. So yeah, I'm sure there's always a cross-pollination of ideas always occurring. So you see it in a ton of games here at Nintendo. So just a quick kind of spot in what's happening right now. So she's making her way kind of through and towards the first Tail Cave, which is the first dungeon, and that's actually one of the guys in the very beginning of the game that gave you your shield. And she's about to hit, I believe, the key here. There it is. Obviously, I wonder what the tail key refers to. Of course, Owl drops by, and so she'll probably start making her way towards that cave. But in the demo, they kept the heart of Mabe Village there. So even in Mabe Village, if you just wanted to go around and, you know what, I just want to fish, you could just take your time to just go fish. Just fish. Just play the fishing game. You want to visit Sail in his House of Bananas. He's still there. Lovely, smiling crocodile, very happy. So there's a lot to explore if you haven't played the game.
And then also, as we found out in the direct today, there's a dungeon creator. I don't know how much you could talk about that. I'm sure we can't show it, but
yeah, it's not in this particular demo, but just know that you'll be able to custom make your own dungeons and kind of place things where you want them to. So I'm sure if you have some friends that you want to try out my version of a particular dungeon, you'd be able to find something unique. And every time you approach a different dungeon, even if you know what the pieces are, the order in which you do things will always change. So it's a nice little challenge on the side.
So if I made a dungeon, could I share it with Mike and say, try and beat this?
Whether you hand him your system or
just local?
or something, I'm sure there's a way to do it. Actually, I don't know if I actually mess with it, because I'm mostly here just to kind of think about the demo. I got to go back and check on that. I'll get to that answer later.
oh man, this is Tail Cave, right? This is giving me
Tail Cave. Tail Cave. I wonder if we're going to get there in time. I think we will. So she's going to make her way through the Tail Cave and try to progress through this particular area. And a lot of the enemies that you do remember are still back. Oh, look at this. Look at the pro skills. Skipping the 2 left doors because you technically don't need them. You remember that, right?
Yeah.
Yep. And you have these enemies which you can only knock off with your sword and kind of... That's okay. It was supposed to happen to that enemy, but it's all fine.
So yeah, Eagle's Tower, you fall, and then you go to it's different levels, which was pretty cool for a top-down game at the time, especially on like a Game Boy. The way they used verticality in a way that kind of got around the technology.
Yeah, I can't remember which dungeon that was. I do remember falling through
6 or 7, I think.
Something like that. Yeah. This particular one, this is just the first one, so we won't bombard you with this. And you get your Staphoses, a new design for them. The range in which they jump away is a little bit different, also. And swiping around
until you back them up against the wall, right?
What's really funny is I was just going everywhere. When I got my hands on the demo, I started messing with it. I was throwing magic powder on everything. Little kids playing with the ball. Oh, you get some magic powder. I was like, just trying to see what he would do, because that's kind of the fun. Just exploring.
It's like the wild card ability.
It is. I think that's at the heart of Zelda games. It's just, you never know what something will do, right? You never know you'll be able to, talk to the green thing if you didn't throw magic powder on it. Like, who would have thought, right? She's getting to the part here. This is kind of cool. Taking out a couple red souls here. Oh, no. A little sticky. It's fine. And, of course, in their traditional puzzle, that looks odd, right? Yeah, that should probably be there. That looks better.
It's so great seeing this art style within the dungeon, because, like, I know... At least for myself, most of the gameplay I've seen so far is from all the trailers and like quick bursts of it. It's nice seeing like how they do fire, how they do all these different dungeons that I remember, or how they do the interiors that I have not seen in quite some time, how they've updated them.
And do you remember this?
Yeah,
when 2D, it goes sideways to go to 2D. Yeah, so it's really cool. So magic powder them. Those are the Goombas. Those are actually Goombas. What a really cool detail is, I'm not sure if she's going to do... Oh, she's going to try it. Okay, if you jump on a Goomba's head like that, you get a heart.
Oh.
So that is only if you go on top. I see Sarah like fist pumping. Like, that's right, you go. And this is another cool little area here. So this is the same thing with the, watch out for the blade trap. Very nice. This is the Rock's Feather. You remember that?
Yep.
Yeah, so Rock's Feather allows you to
flip.
jump. And this was like really trippy to me. I remember getting this for the first time, and how fast you just change. Boom. Now the Y buttons jump. Just like that.
Wow.
Yep, and there's some floating little health things there. You can grab.
As always, Link's an overachiever. Can't just jump, has to do a front flip.
Yeah, and then you can even use the Rock's Feather here, and of course he jumps just like a certain other character we know about. So, really cool way they've kind of just, taken what was Link's Awakening and really just embraced it and let it be what it is, but just kind of what else would be really cute. I mean, I remember having a 5-minute discussion about those sea urchins on the beach. When you push them with the shield, they close their eyes and they squint.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're like being pushed. Like small stuff like that really gets me in games. They didn't have to do it, but they did.
So we do have a little bit under a minute left. I don't know if Sarah can speed run up to the boss.
Oh, no. Well, she could keep trying. She's almost there, but we'll see what happens. Even if we can't get to the boss,
it's still
there's
cool to look through the dungeon.
Yeah, do you want to hit any of the details? I mean, there's already a lot of good stuff in Link's Awakening, but
yeah, there's a lot. September 20th is the release date.
Yeah,
great.
Can't wait.
I'm super looking forward to it. The dungeon creator, Well, we sort of talked about it, but I'm curious like how they'll implement it, etc.
And there's a long time before September 20. Say that much.
Yeah, will the color dungeon be involved from the Game Boy Color, the DX version?
Would you like there to be?
Yes.
Sarah, take note. Take that down. Take that down.
Just give a thumbs up.
All right. Well, JC, I know you'll be back on our stage tomorrow, I believe.
Yep, we'll play something different, I'm sure, and I'll see you guys throughout the days. So
Cool.
see you soon.
Well, I'm glad the direct went out and went smoothly by all accounts. Thanks so much for coming on to show us Link's Awakening. Sarah, thank you so much. We'll see you. And if you're watching from home, we will be back with our friends from Xbox right after this quick break. See you then.